Well, welcome everyone to session 3 of the cyber safety class. Glad you could make it out today. We're going to be going through some various things like passwords, multi-factor authentication, and identity theft as well. So let's get started. Again, just to sort of go over this again. Who am I? My name is Nathan Call. I'm an IT professional. That means I have to stay up to date with what's going on in technology. There's a lot going on in technology, so it's always changing, but I try to keep up to date. Why am I doing this? I believe God is calling me not only to help with our YouTube live stream and our website, but to really take responsibility for you guys when it comes to technology and staying safe online. So. And just a brief review. These are really important to really understand. So that's why I keep repeating them. But this is the universal anatomy of a scam. So you have these 3 things: unexpected contact, high emotion, and a sense of urgency. Scammers will often use these types of things to really trick you into doing what they want you to do, whether that be send money or give access to your computer or something like that. So, then again, we talked about this, the family safe word. This is important to set up because of the introduction of AI voice cloning. And what that means is, scammers can try to clone the voice of a loved one, like your family members or friends, and through that they can try to call you and be like, hey, I need help, I'm in prison, I'm in the hospital, could you send some money? Unfortunately, it's not real. And so we want to set up this family safe word. And so what that means is you contact your family, you contact your friends and say, hey, we're gonna use this system. If you call me, I'm going to ask you for the safe word, okay, in order to verify that you are who you say you are. And so if you get a crisis call, just say, hey, real quick, what is our agreed upon safe word? If they can't answer it, then hang up, and you could try calling them back at the official number that you have listed. But yeah. And then lastly, the active pause. A lot of this really relies on the 3rd factor, which is the sense of urgency. And so you can just take a step back, take a deep breath, evaluate what's going on. And so, yeah. Good morning. And so, you want to hang up. It is a security protocol, not a sign of rudeness. You want to verify, call the person or institution back using the first official number, and then report. Tell a trusted expert or a family member about what happened. So again, that was just review. Now getting into today, password best practices. So, it used to be common knowledge that it was, 8-character password limit would be the recommendation. But today, that sort of changed a little bit. It's sort of around that 14 to 16 characters limit. I put 16 here. It's better to be safe than sorry. But You might be thinking, that's hard to set up, right? This long password. Something that people have developed a method for is using passphrases. So it's just a long string of a couple words, usually sort of random put together words. You can see this example here: purple table singing giraffe. Those have nothing in common with each other, but it's sort of, if you repeat that maybe like 10 times or something, like you'd be able to remember that though. it's a lot easier to remember than some random characters that are just sort of in there. So yeah, it's easier to remember, but it is still hard for the computer programs to crack the passwords because they are longer. Yeah.
I thought, so this is changing now, I thought we had to have a couple of numbers and a couple symbols as part of our phrase.
Yeah, yeah, that is part of it. Although that is sort of more of the legacy standards from before with the 8-character, because with the 8-character one you want complexity over length. That's what they were focusing on. Now you're focusing more on length. That's what the experts have really decided on. However, I mean, there are still a lot of websites and services that will require numbers, special characters, things like that. But you can sort of combine them. You know, you could just put a number at like the end of that, right? But yeah. Let's see, and then the golden rules: don't reuse passwords. Ideally, don't reuse passwords.
You're saying on different sites, don't use the same password?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that is a commonly used thing. But avoid personal information in passwords. That means, you know, your birthday, your pet's name, your, street address or whatever. Try not to use those things because those are publicly available, more or less. And then, yeah, again, length beats complexity. So a longer password is better than a complex password. So, all right, so you might be thinking, I mean, I have to remember all these unique passwords for all of my different services. And now you're telling me that have to be longer, and it's, the experts created a solution to this, and that is a password manager. So that's a tool that you can implement to really save your passwords in a secure vault, and it's even pretty convenient, as it will automatically fill in that information for you when you go to the login page. So some top password managers that I recommend are Bitwarden. It is secure, free, and prevents phishing. And also Norton. It's conveniently built into Norton antivirus. And so, yeah, again, with password managers, it also has some level of phishing protection, as the password manager is looking for the actual website of the service that you're signing into. You know, this could be Microsoft.com, this could be WellsFargo.com, or whatever. If you go to a website that is a scam website that is trying to impersonate, a Microsoft.com or a WellsFargo.com, the password manager would not fill in that information. So then it wouldn't share your password with the scammers, because it's only doing that on the actual, valid website. So it also has just sort of a built-in protection there. All right, now multi-factor authentication, or also known as MFA, or it used to be known as 2FA, two-factor authentication. It's kind of like a double lock. So it adds a second layer of security. It requires two things to log in: something you know and something you have. Okay, so something you know is your password, and something you have is like your phone. It's an app on your phone, or it's your phone number. Yeah, so you can use SMS or email code. It's a good standard protection. The code is texted or emailed to you. You can sort of see there, it's just like, it just shows up in your texts with this code. And then authenticator apps. These are even more secure because the code is only generated on your device. it is not, transmitted over the internet. Yeah. So why does it matter? Even if a criminal steals your password, they need your physical device to sign into your account, right? So that's why we want to do this. So it's like it's a second layer of protection, even if your password is stolen or leaked. Any questions so far?
Well, I'm wondering about how would we get into that authenticator apps, like Google, like I'm on Google. How would you get into that to set that up?
Yeah, you just download it from the App Store or the Play Store.
And you're downloading that
Yeah.
sentence there, that kind of an app, or what would we download?
Yeah, Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. That's what it's called. Yeah. There are others as well, but those are kind of the two main industry standard ones. So, yeah, you just search Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, and then from there you can go to your, email or bank website or whatever, and you have to go into the settings to then configure it. And there is a bit of a process to that, but you just you open the app and then you scan a QR code that the website will give you, and that QR code sends the information for the code. You see there, it'll give you a 6-digit code. So yeah. All right. All right, another thing, just so you're aware, automatic software updates. There's this new thing going on right now where AI is really starting to be able to hack a lot of software out there, and so what that means is you need to update your software. So Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, your iPhone, your web browser as well. It's important to update these things. So software updates are not just for new features. They contain critical security patches that fix holes that hackers are able to use. So enable automatic updates. You just go into the settings, and there's usually an option there to enable automatic updates. It'll look something like that.
What will it say in the settings? When you go to settings, where do you go to next?
Yeah, it go into the updates box, and then from there there should be an automatic updates toggle. And for a lot of devices, I think on iOS it's I think it is enabled by default. So that's good, but it's important to make sure. A rule of thumb: if your device is too old to receive the latest security updates, I would not recommend using it for sensitive activities like banking or maybe doing your taxes or something. So that would include Windows 10, actually. It's no longer supported. All right, so now an antivirus. Last time I mentioned anti-scam software, but this is the antivirus, so it's a little different. An antivirus software constantly scans your device's files and applications to detect, block, and remove malicious software or malware and viruses. These are sort of the two main antivirus providers I would recommend. Bitdefender, it's a powerful antivirus protection. And then also Norton, which can be bundled with LifeLock. As I was doing research for this, I realized that Norton is actually a pretty good option because they do have a lot of it is sort of bundled together. They have multiple things involved, and they all seem pretty good. So, an important note: antivirus software is not as required as it was 10 years ago. The default security protections in Windows, for example, are good in most cases today. However, if you again want that above and beyond protection, the default security will not be it won't cover everything, but yeah. And then lastly, we went over this last time, but anti-scam. Remember to pair antivirus software with anti-scam tools such as Serif Secure to block the behavior of scammers. Again, they'll do like a remote connection to your device, and the Serif Secure tool will alert you that there is someone trying to connect to your device, and that's what we want, because we don't want a scammer to connect to your device. Yeah. All right, identity theft insurance. So what it covers, this insurance helps you recover financial losses after a scam, typically covering costs like legal fees, lost wages, and expert assistance to restore your identity. The top main brands I would recommend are Aura. They're top rated and affordable. They provide $1 million of insurance for each adult in the plan. And then also LifeLock, again, which is through Norton. They're a well-known brand with options also at $1 million or more, and it can be bundled with Norton Antivirus. And then also, something to note, there are often, many people already have access to identity protection through companies they already pay, such as banks or insurance providers or credit card companies. A lot of them have now been implementing identity protection services, and so I would recommend reaching out to them and being like, hey, do you guys offer something like this? And if that's something that that you should get involved with. Yeah. Now, I don't think a lot of those are not the full insurance. Some of them might be. A lot of them are more detection on if your identity was stolen or something. But it is just useful to know that that is becoming, it's a more common add-on for a lot of services, is identity theft services. So, any questions so far? Right. All right, so the cyber safety checklist. Use unique passphrases. Create 16-character passphrases and store them in a password manager like Bitwarden or Norton. Enable multi-factor authentication. Add a double lock to your banking and email accounts to prevent unauthorized access. Automatic updates. Turn on automatic software updates to immediately patch holes in your system's security. And review protection products. Check out products like Bitdefender, Norton, Aura, and LifeLock. And again, contact your insurance or your bank about those add-ons, because you might be able to get a deal for some of those things. Any questions? We sort of went through a lot there. I wasn't sure where we would be on time.
Should we be changing our passwords now to 16 characters?
I would recommend that, yes.
Really?
Yeah. But again, you can use the passphrase, right? So that's easier to remember, where it's just, a few words. I can pull that up again. Yeah. Yeah, like you can make it like this, where it is longer, but it is also easier to remember, right? Yeah, and then you can use the password manager as well. If you have a lot of accounts and it's hard to remember all of the passwords, you can use a password manager, and that stores it for you, so that you don't forget it, and you have to because otherwise you'd have to remember all of those. But
So on my account, I'm trying to think what I'm into, but
Yeah.
Google will come down and say, do you want me to store this for you? This password, do you want me to store this?
yeah.
I always say no. Should I be saying yes?
I would actually recommend it. Yeah,
Okay.
I would recommend saying yes to that. If you don't use a different password manager, again like Bitwarden or Norton, then the default one, such as built into Google Chrome, I know Apple has one. I think Microsoft has one as well. The default one is pretty good for what it offers. However, it's important to note that if your password is a short password or an insecure password, then there's not as much use saving that, right? It's more for helping you remember secure passwords, because you don't actually have to remember it, because the computer remembers it.
So then you've got something saved in that.
Yeah.
Then how do you get to that password when you need it?
It will often automatically show up when you sign into the website. So if you save, a Microsoft.com sign in, when you go to Microsoft.com, it will enter that information into the login screen. Otherwise, you can access it in the settings of like Chrome, where you can see the full list. But yeah.
I was also told to use a long sentence.
Yeah, that's similar to this, where you use a phrase. I mean, it's not a full sentence, but yeah, you could use a sentence. Depending on the limitation of the website you're signing into, not all of them allow for really long passwords. Some of them only really, they might have a character limit of like 20 or something like that, right? So in that case, I mean, you wouldn't be able to use that password, but I think in most websites now these days, they allow for longer passwords. Yeah. Any other questions?
So let me just tell a kind of a story on my mom a little bit. It's
Yeah.
it's a good learning curve for everybody.
Sure.
And she was computer illiterate. She did not have a computer. So
Sure.
but they could attack the same way on a computer. But it was just on a phone. And she got a call, and this guy said that he was at a bank out in New York. Well, she didn't think she had any money out in New York, but he was very persuasive. And he said, "Oh, Edith," he said, it doesn't make you sound right, but this is for real." And he talked to her, and then he said, "You're going to have to pay the IRS some money on this." That's where he was. But he said, "I'm going to just show you that this is for real." And he sent her a check for $7,900 and some dollars. And I saw the check, and it looked very, very legit. And I said, "Okay, Mom, I don't know what's going on, but I said, I'll put it in the bank for you." And it looked legit, and the bank took it, and they cashed it. About 3 days later, though, then it bounced. So he said, "See, Edith, this was real. You really do have this money out there." That was before it had bounced. And so anyway, then he said, "But now, Edith," and then I was out of it. And then Mom was just talking, and I didn't know that she kept talking about this. And he said, now the IRS needs some money." And so and then he would always say, "But we only take cash." Well, my mom didn't know that the IRS, first of all, they don't call you on the telephone.
Yeah.
And but it was so real, and then she thought, you know, if this money is real, I can help the missions out. Well, bless her heart for thinking like that. And of course, then she kind of said, oh, this would be so cool. Well, then he heard that, and he was picked. Just think, Edith, what you
Oh,
could do,
yeah,
what
yeah,
you could do with this money. And
yeah.
So this went on then, and he would say, okay, now I need another $2,000, and so go buy 4 $500 gift cards, and then you don't have to send them to me. Just scratch off the back and give me that number. That's all I need. And so I didn't know anything about this, and finally I got a call from the bank because I'm power of attorney for my mom.
Sure.
And they said, we don't know what's going on, if anything's going on, but do you know why your mom is coming in and asking for such large sums of cash all the time? And I said, I don't have any idea why. So I called her up and I said, Mom, what's going on? I got a call from the bank, and then she told me what's going on. And I said, does this sound like the government? No, it doesn't sound like the government. And so then I got involved with that and found out that another one, they said, okay, Edith, take $1,700 in cash and put it in a magazine and put it $100 bills and all the different pages and send it to us. Well, I contacted the post office and I said, here's the address that I sent that to. And bless their heart, the post office went and they found it still on the door.
Oh, wow.
So I actually got that back, and I saw Mom's $100 bills in the magazine, and but it was just for, and then it got to be more demanding, these calls that she was getting. So I was hearing them on her phone, and it was awful. They was kind of like, okay, Edith, I know you're there, I know you're listening to us. We've got to have this money now, and so she was scared. And, well, then I took her whole phone and I turned it over to the IRS. I turned it over to the Wilmer Police Department, and they took all that stuff and they got very involved with it. And luckily, when it was all said and done, she had only lost about $18,000. But at least a bank and a big bank like Wells Fargo or something, they probably would have done. This was a small bank in Wilmer that was really looking out for their people. And so that's why I don't think Wells Fargo would have ever caught that, but in a small little community, they were wondering, why is this lady taking all this cash out?
And they called you.
They called me because I was power of attorney.
Yeah.
And but that was really cool. But then Mom was so embarrassed, of course, and she said, okay, now don't tell your brother and sister, let's just keep this a secret. Well, then it got to be too big, and I said, Mom, I can't keep this to myself anymore. I need help. So then they shared it.
Yeah.
But it was so sad. But it was so subtle how he came with this. You got money out in New York, and she said, I don't think so. And then he convinced her, and then when it went into helping the missions, boy, he really picked up on that. But it's so sad. So you really got to be careful.
Because when you get that on your email and it says, you got this money, well, it's like, gee, I could sure use that money.
Yeah.
And I know I just delete it. But they're enticing.
That happened to me, and it wasn't on the phone. It was not a message, it was a phone call. And just like your mom, I bought into it, but I lost a lot of money.
See, that's so sad.
And then, I mean, it kind of just destroys your life. You know, I could bank on this guy calling me every first of the month because he knew I got paid. And he'd take almost my whole paycheck. My sister finally tumbled to it. And she reported it to Hennepin County as a vulnerable adult. And that's how I finally got out of it. Of course, the money and everything was gone.
That's really sad. But so you experienced it too, and it's
you got to be real careful.
Sounds so real. Yeah.
When they go after seniors.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
How old we are.
Yeah.
I
cousin lost a bunch of money too, like that.
Really?
From a lover across the ocean, and he needed to get here. And so, can you send me money so I can come? Well, then he had an accident, and he needed more money, and so then she had to send more money, and then this happened, and that.
Yeah.
Finally, she had no money left. She had taken it all.
Wow.
Sheriff Thompson had that happen. Did any of you get involved with that?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, she sent the emails.
Oh yeah,
saying
that email.
She needs this money and,
Yeah. Yeah.
but this was a fake lover. This was nobody. It was nobody she ever met.
Yeah.
It was just somebody that was a scam.
Yeah, scammers really try to, again, they use the sense of urgency and high emotion, and you know it's unexpected at first, and they really try to convince you. They give all sorts of reasons why they're credible, and with your mother, they even buy into additional factors that could help them, like, oh, look how much you could give to missions with this, right? That's not something an IRS agent would tell you, right? Yeah, so
First of all,
it's,
they wouldn't call you on the phone.
yeah, and
see, I got a call a couple days ago from text, a bank, number, whatever. And I just deleted it. Well, no, I didn't delete it, I blocked it. I blocked the call.
sure.
The next day I got a call again from them. Shouldn't that have been blocked? I blocked it again. Or no, it said, do you want to unblock it? So I knew I had blocked it, but why would they call a second time if you blocked it?
Well, they might not know if you blocked it, right? So they'll just try to keep calling, but it should
What does a
should.
blocked call do? I mean, that just stopped them from calling, shouldn't it?
I would think it would. I'm not sure in that case. Usually it would, or it would, or at the very least, it would warn you, right? It'd say like scam likely or something like that. Because if you report it, again, that goes to Apple or Google, and they have a database of all these numbers where that helps protect other people. Because if that number is being used, other people would be notified that it's a scam or likely a scam. I guess I'm not sure in that case why it still showed up.
So it really does good to block, to report where it says delete and report or block and report.
Yeah.
It really does good to say report it.
It does. Yeah, it helps. It helps the wider community be protected from these things. Yeah.
So who do you report to when you get? Because I get something like that too that said something, a report scam, delete and report scam.
Yeah, like a text, or yeah. You can you click delete and report scam, and it
You report to.
well, that sends it to Apple or Google, depending on your device,
So
right?
does that automatically go to them, or do you have to?
Yeah, it goes to them directly. Yep. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I used to get called from Publishers Clearinghouse. And
Okay.
years ago, I would order stuff from Publishers Clearinghouse by mail.
Sure.
I didn't have a computer.
Sure.
And so I thought, oh, well, now, and they said that I won some money, and they sent a check, and what? So I went to my bank and gave them the check. I said, is this real? And she just shook her head, and she said, just a second, and she went and she said, no, it's fake, so don't you dare cash it,
Yeah.
rip it up.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that they go as far as to do that.
Yeah.
And she said, don't answer them anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
was almost got in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
But, and then I got so many different calls, I went to the police and asked them,
Really?
I said, I can help you. I have all these numbers. He laughed, he says, well, your intentions are good, but you don't know where they're calling from. And I'm the one that's the guinea pig, and if I'll answer, they're gonna take advantage of me. So they
Yeah.
couldn't help me. He said, just don't answer the phone,
Yeah.
so.
Again, you can report them to Google or Apple directly through your phone. That would, there wouldn't be law enforcement involved in that scenario, but it would help, other people not fall victim to that. So, yeah. But yeah, again, I mean, a lot of it is, unexpected. Like, you didn't expect to receive a check from them, right? Yeah. They use high emotion and a sense of urgency. Yeah, so it's always important to, if you're unsure, even just a little bit unsure, just take a step back, right? Be like, okay, is this actually the bank? Is this actually the IRS? Yeah. Because they will really try to convince you. And again, that's why hanging up the phone is actually an important step. Because the more you stay on the line, the more they can try to convince you that they're real.
But we're
So.
Minnesota nice people. We don't do
I
that.
I understand. Yeah, I know that's a bit rude to do, but it's important these days, and yeah.
I have made the remark, I want to check with a friend to see
Yeah.
if this is a good idea. Oh no, they don't want you to do that.
Oh, of course
They
not.
want to do it right away.
Yeah, no, and again, they want you to do it right away. It won't, if it is a real thing, it won't be, right away in the next 30 minutes. Like, they're trying to convince you that you have to do it right now. But,
I hung up on this one guy, and then he must have called Minneapolis. He said he was from the police department or the sheriff.
sorry.
And he called another guy, and he called me. So they thought they had a hot, person here that they were going to work with. I hung up on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Are there any further questions? I know this was sort of a bit more to go through with the passwords and the apps and all of that, but it's all in the handout. You can review later. Yeah. And with a lot of these things, it's not like I'm not telling you have to do this or you're in trouble. It's all a spectrum, right? The more passwords you make more secure, that's a little bit better. If you have the secure programs, the antivirus and the anti-scam, that's a little bit better, right? And then the identity theft insurance, that adds a bit more to the security. So it's all just it's all a spectrum of that, where it's it just helps it to that degree, right? It's not, you don't have to do all of it right now, but it would be good to do so, but yeah.
Now, would you recommend that, like if you were a business owner and you did your business on your computer, on your, phone and all that kind of stuff, whereas
Yeah.
mine is pretty much just social.
Yeah.
I get my doctor's reports on it and stuff, but other than that,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
anything that.
Yeah, for businesses, that risk level is a lot higher, right? Because they could be dealing with thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and different, there's maybe contracts from other companies that are, that's a lot more important. And for example, with malware, if they get their device infected with malware, or even ransomware, which is a type of malware that it locks your device, basically. It locks all of your files. Ransomware is really bad for business, because you can't continue working with the business if your computer is completely locked, all the files are locked. You you have to like start from scratch at that point, or contact the FBI or something like that. But it is a lot more important for businesses than it is for individuals. But yeah. All right. Well, church is starting in a little bit here. I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
You guys are.
Yeah.
You guys
If
are.
you leave these papers, I'll just leave them there, and then when people come
Yeah.
this week, I can tell them to pick up their copies.
Yeah, and I have extras from the previous weeks as well. I can leave those here. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys are dismissed.